Today on Straight Talk Commerce, we are asking the question, are you getting the most out of your influencer campaigns? You may not know this, but influencer campaigns make a huge difference to e-commerce entrepreneurs. They can mean the difference between massive profits or years. So we're going to break down two very powerful case studies, one from Daniel Wellington, the other from, you guessed it, Bud Light. And we're going to reveal to you the tools, the strategies, and the insights that you're going to need to maximize your ROIs, to avoid costly mistakes, and to turn your influencer campaigns into profit machines. You ready? Let's go. Talk about influencer campaigns today, and I'm very excited about this because not too many people really know how to maximize their influencer campaigns. They shy away from those campaigns. They're familiar with the influencer side where somebody's standing there in front of a camera like this one and they're talking about products, but they really have no idea about the actual business side on the back end, how to maximize that influencer campaign and actually make it turn into something, come to fruition, make a profit. So we're going to talk about the number one thing or the things that you need to do to maximize an influencer campaign. And we're going to start with defining clear goals. Defining clear goals. What is this campaign supposed to do? Do you want brand awareness? Are you looking for engagement from your customers? What about sales and conversions? How many of those? Is that what we're really directing this campaign to do? What about content value? Would you like to use the content over and over and over again? Because a lot of influencer marketing, you can direct that content to be reusable for months and years down the line. Before you start any campaign, you need to sit down with your team, and if your team is just you need to sit down and you need to decide what success is going to look like. What are we expecting this campaign to do? Now, none of that matters if you're not measuring, if you're not tracking. Everybody that listens to this podcast knows that I am very big on measure. So we're going to use some analytics tools to measure the influencer performance. Social media analytics. You're going to find platforms like Instagram Insights or TikTok Analytics or YouTube Studio. And you're going to measure those social media likes, the dislikes. You're going to measure how many people actually, impressions, how many people saw this. You're also going to need campaign tools. Tools like Upfluence or Hype Auditor, Sprout Social. They're going to track your entire campaign. It's going to track where did you put the campaign, who saw it, what did it reach your target audience. And then we're going right back to Google Analytics, because Google Analytics is going to monitor your traffic and your conversions. And it's going to monitor them from the campaign broadly, but also from specific influencer links. So you're going to know exactly where those sales came from. There'll be no hiding. The light will be everywhere. Number 3, you're going to measure your engagement rate. And most people that I talk to don't have the first clue to measure, know how to measure their engagement rate. And here's how you do it. You calculate an engagement rate to gain your audience interactions. In other words, who are you reaching and are they actually talking back to you? Now, your engagement rate is your likes, your comments, your shares, divided by the number of followers that particular influencer has. And you're going to, if you are not the influencer, you are going to measure each influencer differently and then do it as a whole for the campaign. Let me say that again. Each influencer, you're going to measure their engagement rate individually, but you're also going to do it for the campaign as a whole. The reason that you do that is you want to find weak links and you want to replace weak links. With every campaign, you need to replace the weak link. Now, you may add an influencer if all of your influencers are working at an acceptable engagement rate. That's perfectly acceptable. And if you've generated enough income to start adding influencers to this campaign, that's awesome. But if you have one influencer that is really not influencing anyone, they're of no use to you. And unless they're providing super good content that you're able to use over and over and over and over again, my best bet or my best advice to you would be to snip them and maybe work with them down the road when their engagement is better. I would also say to you that if you have an influencer that also gets a lot of dislikes, that to me is still engagement. They're engaging. They may not like what they're seeing, but they're actually taking the time to engage with that influencer. So you may want to take a look at that and see whether dislikes, that negative engagement actually helped you to become more profitable. Number 4, you're going to assign trackable links and codes. You're going to find a way to track all of this information that's coming in. You don't want to attribute sales to an influencer that had absolutely nothing to do with it, but you also want to get the full story. And if you're dealing with an influencer that actually sent you business, and a lot of it, you're going to want to reward that. You're going to want to make sure that that influencer, you're constantly doing business with that influencer. Because I'm telling you right now, there are some people out there, even on the micro level, which is 10,000 followers or subscribers and below, that have incredible engagement rates. And people actually are influenced. They do what those people ask them to do. And you are really missing out if you don't engage with those influencers. Influencer marketing got a really bad rap for a couple years, especially during COVID, when you had this proliferation of influencers, so-called influencers, who didn't influence anyone and expected the world. And with any new technology or any new method of doing something, there's always a learning curve. And that's where we come in. We're kind of helping flatten out that learning curve for you. And we're telling you what we learned during that period of time. Use your UTM parameters on URLs to track web traffic from the influencer posts. And you're going to provide exclusive discount codes to attribute sales. In other words, you're going to use these UTM codes, some like Wayne 1020 or Mark 50, on your individual discount. That way you're going to be able to track all the way through your Google Analytics, straight from the traffic that they brought in and the conversions that they made, and straight into your wallet. You can track it all that way. And that's what you're going to want to do. And then you're going to take and assess your content value. Now, if you're doing a holiday influencer campaign, you may not be able to use that influencer content over and over and over again. But some content that you'll be able to use, you will be able to use that content in October, as well as in March, as well as in July. So you want to pay very close attention to what you're paying for, and tell your influencer of choice that that's what you plan to do. I need this content to be evergreen. I need you to make this content that I can use over and over and over again. And if they're worth their salt, if they know what they're doing, they're going to be able to do that for you fairly easily. Now, number 6 is when we compare the campaign costs to the actual results. We're going to figure out now what our ROI is, or return on investment. You paid a certain amount of money for all of this great influencer content, and now it's time to find out how much money came back to you. And if those sales didn't happen, we want to plug those holes, fix it before we move on. Because if we're not getting a return on our investment, this is going to be the shortest campaign and the shortest business you've ever seen. Now, in order to figure out what an ROI is, you take the revenue from the campaign. How much did you receive from the campaign? You're going to subtract the cost of that campaign. And here, be honest. Be very honest with how much did that campaign cost you? Were there tools and materials that you needed to purchase beforehand? Was it all on the influencer? Because we want to be fair to them. Again, if we find out 2 years too late that a particular influencer really did the deal for us and really sold a lot of merchandise for us, it's very hard to go back to an influencer to work again if you've destroyed the relationship. You're going to then divide the cost of that campaign and multiply it by 100. Now let's go over that again. You take the revenue from the campaign, you're going to subtract the cost out of it, the cost of the campaign, subtract that. You're going to divide the cost of the campaign and multiply by 100. That figures out your return on investment. Now, here's the thing. If sales are not your primary goal of the campaign, now you're going to want to go to cost per engagement, your CPE. How much did it cost you to engage with a new customer? Maybe you went for brand awareness. We need to find out how well did they do in introducing you to new people. And in order to do that, you take the total cost of your campaign and you divide it by how many engagements. How many engagements did you receive? Not impressions. I see a lot of people using impressions. Impressions are you driving past a billboard on the highway. Your engagements are really what you're looking for here. Now, number 7, you're going to monitor the long-term effects of your campaigns. Some campaigns yield results immediately. Some campaigns, however, yield results over time. So you want to keep an eye on post-campaign engagements. You want to look at ongoing website traffic, sustained follower growth, brand sentiment changes via surveys or just your social listening. In other words, do people have a more favorable view of you months down the road because you worked with a particular influencer? These are important things to know, and they add value to your influencer campaign. So you want to make sure that you're cognizant of that. You also want to track your audience quality. Ensure that your influencer's audience matches your target demographic. You can use tools to analyze audience authenticity, demographics, and engagement quality. And Google Analytics gives you a real good insight into that if you know how to use it properly. And by the way, it is free to learn to use. It's not enough that you downloaded or that you have HubSpot or Google Analytics. That's not enough. Learning how to use the tool. It would be like going into Home Depot, buying a hammer, and you have absolutely no idea what a hammer is used for. It just doesn't work that way. So learn your tools. Then you're going to want to analyze your conversion funnel metrics. Now, if I just spoke Spanish to you and you don't speak Spanish, or if I just spoke another language and you have absolutely no idea what I just said, I'm going to need you to pay very close attention. Break down where your audience drops off in your conversion funnel. In other words, everybody going in the top of the funnel, that's all of the impressions, all of the traffic, and it goes right down through your funnel, clicks, website visits, and conversions. At the very bottom of your funnel is the conversion, and hopefully you have something to scoop them back up and put them right back in the top of that funnel. So you want to make sure that you're picturing your campaigns like a funnel where all of the traffic goes in the top and out of the bottom comes money, conversions, people who bought things and you sold them to them. And then at the very end of this campaign, you're going to gather feedback and you're going to accept the insights, whatever they are. You're going to accept the insights. You're going to ask the influencer for their insights about their audience's response. They're going to know. You're going to present to them all of your research and all of your data, and they're going to in turn analyze it, and they're going to look and say, wow, the engagement was absolutely fantastic. Next time I'm going to charge you more money. Or they're going to say, wow, maybe I didn't do such a good job for you. And in order to maintain this relationship, we're going to extend my influencer campaign with you. And I want to put you right where you need to be. If you run into influencers that do that, listen, it's very worth working with them. If they are as interested as you are in giving you the ROI, the return on your investment, as you are in getting it, I would say to you, that is an influencer that you can continue to work with, really, no matter what the first results are. Let's talk about case studies. This is all well and good until you take a look and see how this works in the real world. And so I picked a couple case studies. We're going to go over them right now, and we'll talk about what their approaches were, what their sales were, if there was any brand growth, or did they really stub their toe. And I got a hint for you. One of these companies did a brilliant job. The other of these companies did a horrible job, and those people should be drummed out of social media forever and ever and ever, and should never, ever be allowed to run another campaign. So let's go. Case study number one. This is a successful campaign, and it was done by Daniel Wellington. It's a watch brand. Beautiful, absolutely stunning watches. And they wanted to increase their brand awareness and their sales. Daniel Wellington used a micro-influencer strategy. We've talked about that before. They partnered with influencers all across Instagram who aligned with their minimalist and trendy aesthetic. In other words, these influencers were kind of kooky, and they just really matched up well with the customer that Daniel Wellington watch brand had in mind. The influencers were given free watches, and they were giving a unique discount code to share with their followers. The campaign focused on creating an aspirational lifestyle and the content that resonated with young audiences, and their results were pretty impressive. Their engagements, posts from influencers, generated very high engagement rates with likes and comments that showcased real interest from the customers or new customers to their product. The sales, the use of discount codes allowed for very easy tracking. They knew which influencers were generating sales toward them, and they showed a significant uptick in purchases directly attributed to that campaign in specific. Their brand growth. Daniel Wellington grew its Instagram following exponentially. If you go and check their Instagram following, it is a very sharp growth from prior to this campaign to where they are now. And by the way, it's kind of followed along. So the old adage, I'll tell two friends and they'll tell two friends and they'll tell two friends, and that's how we're going to grow. That definitely worked in Daniel Wellington's in their future. That worked for them very, very well. Their alignment with their target audience and their values and their lifestyle were very key factors in the success of this. And the micro influencer strategy provided an authenticity. They worked with smaller influencers. They didn't go for the Kim Kardashians of the world, who by the way, is one of the best influencers on the entire planet. People do what Kim says do, and all of the Kardashians are very good examples of influencer aspirational strategy that you want to push for. The trackable metrics like unique discount codes ensured that their ROI was clear, concise, and it was correct. And those are the things that we're looking for. They made a lot of money on that campaign, and that's why I chose to bring it to you.
If your business operations feel like a grind, you're missing out on the magic of artificial intelligence. Whether you're in retail, manufacturing, finance, or any other industry, AI is a game changer. From automating mundane tasks to optimizing your supply chain, AI can transform how you operate. We specialize in creating tailored AI solutions that meet your unique challenges and goals. With our expertise, you can improve efficiency, reduce errors, and make better decisions. Discover how AI can revolutionize your business. Contact us today at www.toolessentials.ai/consultation.
Now let's talk about the case study number 2. Very failed campaign. Kendall Jenner and Pepsi. 2017, they had a huge controversy about this. Pepsi wanted to promote their symbol, Pepsi symbol, as a symbol of unity and youth culture. The approach was Pepsi had collaborated with Kendall Jenner, who was at the time a very high profile influencer and model. It was a very expensive campaign, and it was for a global ad campaign all around the world. The ad depicted Ms. Jenner using Pepsi to diffuse tensions during a protest. She walked around handing out Pepsi to people during a protest, and the aim was to position Pepsi as a unifying brand. Fail. The results, the backlash was very quick, and it was massive. The ad was widely criticized for trivializing the social justice movement that it was supposed to amplify. It sparked a ton of negative sentiment on news and social media, and it seemed very disingenuous. The engagement, while it generated millions of views, anything she does is going to be a double-edged sword. If it works, you've blown yourself up into the stratosphere and you really amplified the positive. However, if you don't do it correctly, it is also going to amplify the negative aspects. And while it generated millions of views, most of that engagement was negative, with hashtags like PepsiGate that started to trend. It was ugly. The sales impact. Pepsi faced reputational damage that they're still trying to recover from, and they were forced to pull the ad with no measurable sales benefit from the campaign. Actually, you could argue that their sales were much worse after that campaign, as opposed to they had gained some traction prior to that. And their key factors in this failure was a total misalignment with their audience, really. The ad came across as absolutely tone deaf and totally inauthentic. Their over-reliance on celebrity appeal without considering cultural context was asinine. And the lack of audience research and failure to test the campaign message beforehand was inexcusable. You really do, if you're going to do something that is going to be that big of an investment, smaller campaigns prior to is going to be your best bet. And so we come to the lessons learned. From Daniel Wellington, you learn that authenticity and alignment with your audience and using trackable tools will lead to success, massive success in a lot of cases. And from Pepsi, you should take away that even big budgets with people who are supposed to know what they are doing and celebrity partnerships who have been influencers for a long time can fail if the message is out of touch or poorly researched or poorly tracked. Now, one more. I'll give you a little bonus one, only because to a younger, diverse I just can't, demographic. Any topic, any conversation about influencer marketing cannot, this is going to be in textbooks, you guys. This will be in textbooks for the rest of my life, certainly, and probably the rest of my kids' life. And that was the campaign and the backlash of Bud Light. Bud Light partnered a couple years ago with Dylan Mulvaney to celebrate his milestone of 365 days of girlhood, creating a custom can as part of the promotion. The campaign aimed to modernize Bud Light's image It sparked a backlash from conservative consumers, which was their market to begin with. If they'd done even the littlest of research, they would have known that the one saving grace of that brand was a very loyal following. But they went ahead and it sparked backlash from conservative consumers and public figures who viewed the move as very politically charged, leading to widespread calls for a boycott. The term "go woke, go broke" is really what we're talking about here when you're talking about this Bud Light controversy. Here's the response. A 25% drop in sales just started following the campaign's rollout, with some distributors reporting up to a 50% decline. Now, I have on very good authority that it was way worse than that even, but that's publicly what I feel comfortable expressing. A 13.7% drop in U.S. sales alone to retailers during the first quarter of 2024 compared to the previous year. And by the way, Bud Light, the United States is pretty much the only place that they sell that beer, as far as I know. You go outside of the United States and people do not drink Bud Light a whole lot, if I'm correct. The backlash significantly affected Bud Light's market position. The brand lost its long-standing title as it was a top-selling beer, you guys. Top-selling beer in the United States. Lost that title to Modelo, with consumer preferences shifting to competitors such as Coors Light, Miller Lite, Corona Extra, all of these other brands just waiting to grab your market share. What a boneheaded maneuver. Many of these competitors benefited from aggressive marketing campaigns during this period. So not only do you lose sales to those competitors, but they pile on top of you in obvious and not so obvious ways to make sure that you are 10 feet of soil on top of you on top of that. And the recovery efforts were very anemic. Anheuser-Busch, the parent company, has since attempted to rehabilitate their brand's image through initiatives such as partnerships with the UFC. Dana White tried to throw him a bone, and it really didn't even work that well. The Olympics and patriotic themed marketing. I mean, you should have seen the marketing campaigns just after this controversy. Everything was Clydesdales and patriotism, and it really was adding fuel to the fire that they had started. It was so disingenuous that they're suffering even today, and this was, months and months and months ago. Many consumers are hesitant to return to the brand because they establish new habits with their competitors. They have a new beer. They're not going to come back to Bud Light without very good reason to do that. And the Bud Light campaign is when I go and give speeches, when I go and talk about this subject to groups, this is one of the very first things that I talk about. The Bud Light campaign serves as a cautionary tale about aligning your brand and your brand's messaging with divisive social topics, for unnecessarily doing that, and the importance of understanding core consumer sentiment when reshaping your brand's image. Look, if you want to set fire to your brand, pick an unpopular topic and go full speed ahead. Great, good idea. You will set fire to your brand and you will make it virtually impossible to recover from it.
If your business operations feel like a grind, you're missing out on the magic of artificial intelligence. Whether you're in retail, manufacturing, finance, or any other industry, AI is a game changer. From automating mundane tasks to optimizing your supply chain, AI can transform how you operate. We specialize in creating tailored AI solutions that meet your unique challenges and goals. With our expertise, you can improve efficiency, reduce errors, and make better decisions. Discover how AI can revolutionize your business. Contact us today at www.toolessentials.ai/consultation.
Okay, everybody. All that to say, let's do a little bit of review. Influencer marketing can be absolutely fantastic for your business. As a matter of fact, anybody should have that. Everyone should have that in their tool chest, ready to pull out and use at a moment's notice. You want to be able to. They're very quick. If you do the research and you know exactly what you're doing and you've practiced a little bit, these can be done very quickly, very cost effectively. And as long as you define your clear goals and your KPIs, key performance indicators, right? You want to know brand awareness, engagement, sales and conversions, or the value of the content that you're creating. These campaigns are invaluable. You cannot have a successful e-commerce business or any kind of business, as far as I'm concerned, without influencer marketing. You're going to want to track and use tools to track the metrics that we just discussed. Your social media analytics, your campaign tools, your Google Analytics. You want to become very, very proficient with those tools. You want to measure your engagement rate. You want to make sure that people are actually engaging with you. If you're going to all the trouble of putting out this type of content, you're going to want to improve week by week and month by month with your engagement rates. Assign trackable links and codes. Use those tools to use the UTM parameters on your URLs. Use discount codes. They prove very effective. And you want to assess your content value. You want to make sure that you are making evergreen content that you can use again and again and again. You want to compare your campaign costs to the results that it gives you. And you want to monitor long-term the effects of that campaign. I have campaigns that ran 2 years ago that are still, the internet is forever, you guys. So they are still reaping, not as much, but still reaping benefits to me from years ago. You want to constantly consider your audience quality. Did you hit the bullseye? Are these your customers? Or are you trying to build a customer base and you are dragging in people that are not as interested in your products or in your services? And then you want to analyze the conversion using the funnel metrics. In other words, you're pouring a ton of traffic in the top of the funnel and you are finding out through that filter who comes out on the bottom of that. And by the way, that the sales that you make can then be utilized to shrink in that funnel and to make lookalike audiences. So every time you dump more traffic, it's directed traffic and it filters even more and more, instead of more traffic filtering out even less sales. We're going to do less traffic and get more sales from it, as long as you know these key metrics, as long as you can create lookalike audiences and all of these things. It gets simpler and simpler and simpler to make more and more and more money. And one of the things that you're going to use to do that is by gathering the feedback and the insights from those customers that are loyal to you. And you're going to give them rewards for being so loyal as well.
If your business operations feel like a grind, you're missing out on the magic of artificial intelligence. Whether you're in retail, manufacturing, finance, or any other industry, AI is a game changer. From automating mundane tasks to optimizing your supply chain, AI can transform how you operate. We specialize in creating tailored AI solutions that meet your unique challenges and goals. With our expertise, you can improve efficiency, reduce errors, and make better decisions. Discover how AI can revolutionize your business. Contact us today at www.toolessentials.ai/consultation.
Well, there you have it. Everything you need to know to master influencer ROI, to do your next campaign and really knock it out of the park. We've covered how to measure your campaign success. We've talked about real life case studies like Daniel Wellington's success and Bud Light's crash and burn, and key tools to help you track each of those campaigns successfully and effectively. If you found this video helpful, and I certainly hope that you did, please do not forget to like it, subscribe for more, and to share this channel with all of your friends and the people around you that you know could benefit. We definitely appreciate each and every one of you. It's been a blast so far in going over this stuff with you, and hopefully it's been educational. Drop a comment below if you have any questions or you want to share your experiences. That's really what I'm in for. I really want to know how this type of campaigns, how these type of campaigns have gone for you in the past. We can all learn from one another, and let's keep that conversation going. Thank you for watching, by the way, and I will see you in the next video.